Welcome back to Tangled Threads, the only show where we spin yarns that are more twisted than a politician's promises. I'm your host, Tiberius Templeton, and I've got a story that'll make you wonder if the world is flat after all. I had to fight my drunken stepfather. The police did nothing. I never thought I'd be in this situation. I never thought I'd have to fight my own stepfather. But last night, everything changed. My mom had been dating this guy for a few months now, and things were going well. But last night, he came home drunk, and things quickly turned ugly. He started yelling at my mom for no reason, and then he started throwing things around the house. I tried to intervene, but he just pushed me aside and continued his rampage. That's when I knew I had to do something. I had been taking jiu-jitsu lessons for a few years now, and I knew that was my only chance of stopping him. I waited for the right moment, and then took him down to the ground. I applied a chokehold and held on tight until he passed out. My mom was terrified, but I knew I had to protect her. I called the police, hoping they would come and take him away. But when they arrived, they did nothing. They didn't even bother to check on us or ask if we were okay. They just looked at my stepfather, who was now awake and angry, and told us to leave the house if we felt unsafe. I couldn't believe it. I had just fought my stepfather, and the police did nothing. We left the house and spent the night at a friend's place. Now, I'm sitting here, angry and confused. I don't know what to do. I did what I thought was right, but was it really? Did I go too far? I know my stepfather was drunk and out of control, but did I have to choke him unconscious? Was there another way to stop him? And what do we do now? We can't go back to that house, but where do we go? We don't have any family nearby, and my mom doesn't have a lot of money. I need some advice. I need to know if I did the right thing, and I need to know what to do now. I'm just a 15-year-old kid, and I feel like the weight of the world is on my shoulders. Reddit community, please help me. What should I do now? Should I have done something differently? Did I do the right thing by protecting my mom? I'm just so confused and scared right now. Jesus, man. Here are some of the responses. 1. Bruh, you did the right thing. No one deserves to be treated that way, especially not your mom. But you gotta be careful, man. Next time, he might come at you with a weapon or something. Stay safe. 2. I'm so sorry you had to go through that, man. It's not fair that you had to be put in that position. But remember, you're not alone. There are people out there who can help you and your mom. Don't be afraid to reach out. 3. You should feel proud of yourself for standing up to your stepfather like that. It takes a lot of courage to do what you did. But now, you need to focus on getting yourself and your mom out of that situation. Find a safe place to stay and talk to a counselor or someone who can help you. 4. I'm not sure if choking him unconscious was the right thing to do. You could have seriously hurt him or even killed him. I understand you were trying to protect your mom, but there are other ways to handle situations like that. Maybe you should talk to a therapist about your anger and how to deal with it in a healthier way. 5. Dude, I can't even imagine what you're going through right now. And you gotta stay strong for your mom. You did the right thing by protecting her, but now you need to find a way to get her out of that situation. Keep your head up. 6. This is why we need to defund the police. They should have done something to protect you and your mom. I'm so sorry you had to go through that. You did the right thing by fighting back, but it's a shame that you had to resort to violence. We need to find a better way to handle situations like this. 7. You're a hero, man. You saved your mom from that monster. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. But now, you need to take care of yourself and your mom. Find a way to get out of that situation and start a new life. 8. Choking someone unconscious is no joke, man. You could have seriously hurt him. I'm not saying you shouldn't have protected your mom, but maybe there was a better way to do it. You need to talk to someone about your anger and learn how to deal with situations like that without resorting to violence. 9. I can't believe the police didn't do anything. That's messed up. And you did the right thing by protecting your mom. You're a brave kid, and I'm proud of you. Just remember, you don't have to go through this alone. There are people out there who can help you. 10. You should be proud of yourself for standing up to your stepfather. No one deserves to be treated like that, especially not your mom. But now, you need to find a way to get out of that situation. Maybe you can stay with a friend or family member for a while. Don't give up hope. Update 6 weeks later. Hey guys, it's me again. First of all, I want to say thank you for all of your comments and support. It's been a tough few weeks, but reading your responses has really helped me feel less alone. To address some of your comments, yes, I am aware that choking my stepfather unconscious could have been dangerous. I don't condone violence as a solution to problems, but in that moment, I felt like I had no other choice. I had to protect my mom and myself. I have been talking to a therapist about my anger and how to manage it in a healthier way. As for the police, we did end up filing a report, but unfortunately, nothing came of it. It's frustrating, but we're trying to focus on moving forward and getting ourselves to a safer situation. I'm happy to say that my mom and I have left that house and are staying with a family friend for the time being. It's not a permanent solution, but it's a start. We're looking into more long-term housing options and trying to get back on our feet. I won't lie, it's been a difficult transition. We've had to leave behind a lot of our possessions and start from scratch. But my mom and I are grateful to have each other and to be in a safer environment. As for how I feel about the incident now, it's complicated. I'm still angry about what happened, but I'm also proud of myself for standing up to my stepfather and protecting my mom. It's a confusing mix of emotions, but I'm working through them with the help of my therapist. Again, thank you all for your support. It means a lot to me and my mom. We're taking things day by day and trying to move forward as best we can. Mercy me, that poor boy and his mother. I have a feeling they'll be fine, but that was rough. What do you think he should have done? I wonder how his mother is feeling. Let us know your thoughts in the comments section below. Next up on our story journey, Stepdad tries to fight me, but I am a Judo Blue Belt. I was 17 years old and living with my mom and her new husband, Mike. Mike was a macho alpha male wannabe who used to pick on kids when he was in school. Now, he was trying to assert his dominance over me, but I wasn't going to let him. One day, Mike started messing around with me, playfully pushing me and trying to get me to wrestle with him. At first, I thought it was all in good fun, but then it started to get a little too physical. I could feel his strength and aggression escalating, and it was clear that he was no longer playing around. As he started to get more aggressive, my training in judo kicked in. I had been practicing judo for a few years and had recently earned my blue belt. Without even thinking, I used my judo skills to defend myself and put Mike in a submission hold. Wow, we are really sticking to the theme today. Continuing on, he was surprised and taken aback, but then he started laughing, trying to play it off like it was no big deal. But I could see the anger and embarrassment in his eyes. He didn't like being shown up by a teenager. After that incident, things were tense between us. Mike would make snide comments and try to undermine me whenever he could, but I refused to back down. I knew that I had to stand up for myself and prove to him that I wasn't just some kid he could push around. One day, while my mom was out running errands, Mike and I were home alone. He started in on me again, trying to goad me into a fight. I could feel my blood boiling, but I knew that getting physical with him wouldn't solve anything. Instead, I suggested that we hit the mat together and spar using our judo skills. At first, he was hesitant, but I could tell that his pride was getting the best of him. He agreed, and we spent the next hour grappling and throwing each other around. To my surprise, Mike wasn't half bad. He was strong and had a natural athleticism that made him a formidable opponent. And I was able to hold my own and even managed to get him into a submission hold a few times. As we sparred, something shifted between us. We both realized that we had a mutual respect for each other's abilities. Mike started to see me as more than just a kid, and I began to understand that he wasn't just a macho bully. We were both fighters, and that was something that we could bond over. After our judo session, Mike apologized for his behavior and admitted that he had been acting like a jerk. He said that he was impressed with my skills and wanted to learn more about judo. Over the next few weeks, we started training together regularly. It was a bit strange at first, but we found that we enjoyed spending time together on the mat. Mike even started to soften up a bit, becoming more of a mentor and less of a stepdad trying to assert his dominance. As time went on, our relationship continued to evolve. We still had our disagreements and moments of tension, but we were able to work through them with a newfound respect for each other's abilities. Eventually, I earned my black belt in judo, and Mike was there to congratulate me. It was a proud moment for both of us, and I could see that he was genuinely happy for me. Looking back on those early days, it's hard to believe how far we've come. What started as a hostile relationship between a stepdad and a stepson turned into a bond forged on the mat. And it was all thanks to judo. Let's only hope that things stay as calm as this for the rest of the video. But I have a feeling, God forbid you keep your thoughts to yourself. The comments section is below. Let's continue with another story. My stepdad pulled a gun on us. What do I do now? I never thought my life would take such a messed up turn. It all started when my ma remarried. My stepdad was a weird dude from the jump. He always seemed on edge, and he had a real short fuse. My ma thought he was just stressed from work, but I knew there was something hinky about him. Things got even worse when my stepdad lost his job. He started hitting the bottle hard and became more violent by the day. He would go off on my ma and me for no reason. We were scared to even leave the house or make a peep when he was around. And one day, it all came to a head. My stepdad came home drunker than ever before and pulled out a damn gun on us. He was ranting and raving about how we needed to straighten up and start following his lead in life. Can you believe that, SHT? I didn't know what to do. I felt helpless and scared, and all I could think about was how I wanted to protect my ma. But then, something inside of me snapped. I wasn't gonna let this crazy man control our lives anymore. I saw my moment when he wasn't looking, and I lunged for the gun. I managed to wrestle it away from him, and then I beat him to a pulp until the cops finally showed up and stopped me. They took my stepdad away in an ambulance, and my ma and I were finally safe. But now, I'm left with this question: what the hell do I do now? I'm only 16, and I just beat a man half to death. I know he was crazy and dangerous, but I don't want to be like him. I don't want to hurt anyone else. I'm just trying to figure out how to move on from all this. I feel like I got a lot of anger and trauma inside of me, and I don't know how to deal with it. But I know one thing for sure. I'm never gonna let anyone else control me or my ma like that again. We're gonna be okay, somehow. And with that, I shall consume my first Manhattan of the evening. Let's see what the community had to say. 1. First off, props to you for standing up to that abuse of a home. You did what you had to do to protect your mom. But now, you gotta focus on healing yourself. Talk to a therapist. Maybe try some meditation or exercise to let out that anger. And remember, you're stronger than you think. You got this. 2. Wow, that's some heavy SHT to deal with at such a young age. You might want to consider reaching out to a support group or a counselor who can help you process your emotions. And don't be afraid to lean on your friends and family for support. They love you and want to help you through this. 3. Listen, kid, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. You're going to have a lot of emotional baggage to unpack after what you went through. But that doesn't mean you're weak. You're a damn survivor, and you should be proud of yourself. Just take it one day at a time, and don't be afraid to seek out help if you need it. 4. It's normal to feel angry and traumatized after going through something like that. And don't let that anger consume you. Use it as fuel to create a better life for yourself and your mom. You're capable of great things, and you deserve happiness and safety. 5. Well, I'm sorry you had to go through that. It sounds like you're really strong and resilient, though. Maybe you could try channeling some of that energy into a creative outlet, like writing or art, or volunteer for a cause you're passionate about. Doing something positive can help you feel better. 6. Hey, kid, that's a lot to handle, but you gotta remember, you're not alone. Reach out to organizations that support survivors of domestic violence. They can provide resources and a community of people who understand what you're going through. 7. I can't even imagine what that was like for you. And you should know that you're not defined by what happened to you. You're a person with dreams, goals, and talents. Don't let this one event overshadow all of that. Keep moving forward, and don't let anyone hold you back. 8. You did what you had to do to protect yourself and your mom, and that's commendable. But now, it's time to focus on your own healing. Maybe try some self-care practices, like yoga or journaling. And don't be afraid to seek professional help if you need it. There's no shame in that. Hey guys, it's been a while since I've posted here. First off, I want to say thank you for all the support and advice you gave me when I was going through a really tough time. It meant a lot to have a community of people who had my back. I took your advice and started seeing a therapist. It was hard at first, talking about what happened and reliving those memories. But over time, it helped me process my emotions and learn how to manage my anger in a healthy way. I also started doing yoga, which has been a game changer for my mental health. It helps me stay grounded and centered, even when things feel chaotic. As for my mom, she's doing better too. We've been spending a lot of quality time together, going on hikes, and trying out new recipes in the kitchen. It feels good to have a stronger relationship with her and to know that we're both safe and happy. I've also been focusing on my schoolwork and my future. I'm a junior now, and I've been looking into colleges and career paths that interest me. It's exciting to think about all the possibilities out there and to know that I have the power to shape my own future. Of course, I still have bad days sometimes. I still get angry or sad, and sometimes I have nightmares about what happened. But overall, I feel like I'm in a much better place now than I was a few months ago. And that's thanks in part to all of you who reminded me that I'm not alone and that I can get through anything. So thanks again, guys. I appreciate each and every one of you. Well, that ended like a 1980s after-school special, and thank God for that. Lead us towards enlightenment by placing your thoughts and feelings about this story in the comments below. Time for a new story to unfold. My stepdad hit my mom, so I sent him to another dimension. I never imagined that I would have to use my knowledge of the dark arts in a situation like this. I had been studying them for a while now, just for fun, but never really expected to have to put them into practice. What the hell is going on here? Is this going to be a common thing at this studio? Well, I don't get paid to not read. Moving on. I had just turned 18 and was visiting my mother for the weekend. I hadn't seen her in a few months, so I was excited to catch up with her and see how she was doing. However, things took a dark turn pretty quickly. As soon as I arrived, I could tell that something was off. My stepdad, who had always been a bit of a hothead, was yelling at my mother for something trivial. I tried to ignore it and catch up with my mother, but their argument continued to escalate. Before I knew it, my stepdad had hit my mother. And here we go. Sweet mother of pearl. I was in shock. I couldn't believe what I had just witnessed. My mother was on the ground, crying, and my stepdad was standing over her, shouting. I knew that I had to do something to protect her, but I didn't know what to do. That's when I remembered my studies of the dark arts. I had read about a portal to a dimension of pain and torment, a place where those who had committed evil deeds were sent to suffer. It was said that the portal only opened for a short period of time and would return the person to our world 6 months later, but in a state of madness and confusion. I knew that this was my only option. I quickly gathered the necessary materials and began to chant the incantation that would open the portal. My stepdad was still shouting at my mother, completely unaware of what was about to happen to him. As I finished the incantation, a bright light enveloped my stepdad, and he was sucked into the portal. The portal closed as quickly as it had opened, leaving my mother and I in stunned silence. 4 Manhattans in, and this is what we get. Jesus. For the next 6 months, my mother and I didn't hear anything from my stepdad. We assumed that he had left or gone into hiding, but we never imagined what had actually happened to him. It was 6 months to the day that my stepdad had hit my mother that he suddenly reappeared. He was confused and disoriented, muttering about a place of pain and suffering. My mother and I were shocked to see him, but we quickly realized that something was wrong. He kept talking about a place where he had been tormented for months on end, a place where he had been punished for his sins. We knew that he was talking about the portal that I had sent him through, but we couldn't believe that it had actually worked. We took my stepdad to the hospital, but they couldn't find anything physically wrong with him. They assumed that he had just had a mental breakdown and sent him to a home for the insane. My stepdad spent the rest of his life in that home, unable to convince anyone that his story was true. My mother and I never spoke of what had happened again, but we both knew that we had been saved by my knowledge of the dark arts. Looking back on that day, I'm still not sure if what I did was right. Was it ethical to send my stepdad to another dimension? Was it fair to subject him to months of torment and suffering? I still don't know, but what I do know is that I would do anything to protect my mother. And if that means delving into the dark arts, then so be it. Well, horse nuggets, it is what it is, folks. Let us know your thoughts if you can even muster any after that literary debacle. When you subscribe to our channel, clicking the little bell is crucial. It's the only thing standing between you and a life of complete boredom. If you think you can take more, go ahead and click the next video.